Part 3 of our plan for Great Britain is not so much a party policy, but rather a party pledge. Now, the reason for that is really quite straightforward. Every community is different from every other community. So, in my opinion, there can never be a single overriding political policy that would help every community in the land. So therefore, when it comes to the community, that is the local community, we think local communities are best served by local people in local situations who know the needs and wants of the people living in those communities. So therefore there cannot ever be an overreaching and overriding policy. Now, in order to make communities where none exist, and where to enhance communities where community does exist, requires local knowledge, and therefore it's imperative that we recruit local people to stand for council elections. Through being a member of your local council, you are then better able to serve each community in your small town or large town or even city. Not all community problems are solved by throwing money at them. Sometimes, and quite often I would add, community problems where they exist are more readily solved by local personnel becoming involved in community life. What serves one person will not serve another person. Likewise, in local communities, it's easier to identify where real poverty is affecting affecting adults and children. And I've spoken before about food banks. Food banks are not the answer to poverty. Likewise, in a community, throwing up a community hall is not necessarily the answer for that community. Community halls may already exist in a community, but are underused or little used. But without the help and support of local people in that community, politicians can do nothing. No matter what they say, a community is made up of people who live in a particular area. If there are particular problems there, then the people who know about the problems and how these problems are arising are best suited to tackling it. And we feel in the Pensioners Party the way in which you can help is by standing as a local councillor. Or if you are living in England, there are parish councils. But if you stand as a local councillor, you then have access or potential access to funds, where funds are the answer. Sometimes it's a question of organisation, finding ways of getting like-minded people together to form small social groups. One idea I would like to see in operation in my hometown of Greenock is a social cafe where people of all ages can come together for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, a sandwich or an egg roll or whatever, and just speak to one another, get to know one another. And I'd like to see these cafes out, away from the town centre and in the housing estates where there is nothing. Now that may be widespread, that may be the case throughout the country, I don't know. That's why I say there cannot ever be an overriding policy that suits the entire UK. And it would be foolish to try and write one. If you feel the need to do something to help your community, then get in touch with the party. That can constitute a start of something. Or get in touch with your local councillor. Jar them up. That's what they're there for. To help communities. To help the town or large town or city. It's not for their job is not to impose policies on you. Their job is to serve you. But they are unable to do that if you don't tell them what the problem is in your community, in your part of the town or your part of the city, and how you see the solution to particular problems. However, our pledge is that when you vote for a member of the Pensioners Party, they will endeavour to help solve community problems where they exist in a way that satisfies the local people, not by imposing ideas on them, but the ideas coming from the local people. To offer anything else would be folly, because I don't know what's going on in your community, and neither does anyone else. The best people who know what's going on in your community are people who live there and know the problems and know the needs and wants. So it has to come from each and every one of you. If you want a better community, a stronger community, then you have to step forward and say, we need something done here. If you come to one of our candidates, if they are elected, then I guarantee they will respond positively to your coming forward. So, for the moment, I can say nothing more definite than that we pledge that we will do our best wherever we are elected to help local communities become stronger communities. So I'd like to thank you for your time and your attention.